What's good, fam? Agent O here with another action figure review, and today I have the Figuarts Avengers Infinity War Black Widow figure. Yeah, this is it. This is the box. There's some box art of Scarlett Johansson. It kind of doesn't really look like her to me, but I think the figure looks more like her than this box art does. But it's a nice looking box art. It's a nice looking rendering, whatever. Other than that, there's not really much else to write home about this, about the box. I know some people like to look at it and whatnot and get an idea of whatever. I don't really know why, because to me the box is very unimportant. They could ship these things in a generic cardboard box and I'd be happy as long as it comes with the figure and everything it's supposed to come with and the figure is functional. That's all I care about. I don't care about the box. So now that that's out of the way, let us jump in it and get to the review. And here we have her. Now all of a sudden she doesn't want to stand for me. Let me adjust the camera. And right off the bat, I think this is probably my favorite version of Black Widow. I'm sorry, not Scarlet Widow. That's two different characters. I like this. I think this is my favorite costume of hers. It kind of has the essence of the Black Widow's previous costumes, because you have her widow bite stingers. You have her widow bite stingers, but you also have all the elements there except for like her little Black Widow insignia that you would see on the belt. But other than that, I think this looks the best out of all of them. The sexiness is gone of those costume designs, and this looks more practical and functional, and I like that more in a superhero character and a female superhero character than I do them looking pretty for the sake of looking pretty. I think this serves both of those purposes, but it makes her look, to me, it makes her look more like a functional badass. But that's just my opinion. I dig the colors. They all kind of seem a little similar in their tone, and I know a lot of people probably won't like that. They probably would like a little bit more color, but I feel like the detail of the figure, all the sculpting details and the fabric and whatnot, I think that helps break up the monotone feel of the color. There's even little subtle things that they did, like on the arms. You can see in that middle stripe, it's a duller, more matte finish than the rest of the black, and it's a lighter grayish black. My camera may not pick it up, but you can kind of see the way the light plays off of it, that you've got like two different textures almost, if this was like real fabric and spandex and whatnot. So I like those little bits of detail there. I like the holsters, the empty holsters on her hips, on her thighs I should say. I wish she had came with guns though, even though she didn't use guns in the movie this time. It kind of would have been nice to put something in those holsters, even if it was a different weapon. It would have been nice. But yeah, I mean, I dig this. I dig her face. I think it looks just like Scarlett Johansson. Other people may disagree, but even my facial recognition function on my camera is even picking up her face, and I think it just looks like her, how she looks like in the movies. If you wanted to compare the two, because here's her Age of Ultron, which I also do think looks like her too. It just looks like how she looked like in Age of Ultron in that period. As people get older, some of their facial features do change a bit, and I think, because I think Scarlett Johansson doesn't look the same as she back then as she does now. So I think these are both pretty good renditions of how she looked in those films. And like I said, with these two costumes put together, when you see them side by side, I also have like side by side video comparisons I'll show as well, but I just really like this version a lot more than this version. I mean, this version I think echoes the comic book more, and for people that want to see that, then you definitely had that. But I don't know. Infinity War was serious, so she needed a serious costume to kind of go with it, like something that, because there was no guarantee they were going to survive. And if you've seen the movie, then you know what I'm talking about. But moving on with the details, I do like the little scratches and nicks that they put on the back of her little backpack that houses her fighting sticks. All the seams and all the line work that they put into this figure. The paint apps, there's no slop where there are paint apps. I've got no complaints. Most of this is cast in its base color, like with the legs. There's only paint apps on the soles of her feet. That's another thing I wanted to point out too with the feet. These platform shoes are a lot better than the ones on the Age of Ultron figure. Because the Age of Ultron figure, her feet were too small and just weird with how the platforms worked. Like they were just too high-heeled platforms, and since her feet were so small, it made posing the figure on its own without a stand really, really hard. And the fact that they made her feet bigger on the Infinity War figure really helped a lot with posing and not having to use a stand. I don't think in any of my pictures I actually used one. I actually used a figure stand, so but that remains to be seen. Anyway, I also wanted to talk about the hair. It almost seems like they used the same color hair, that metallic paint app color for the hair that they used on some of the SH Figuarts Luke Skywalker figures. But it works. For me, this works. It might not work for other people. They might want a different paint app. But I think this works as far as making the hair look like it's one color, but when the light hits it and hits all the little grooves and indentations in the sculpt, it adds different ranges of that base color. So I think this works as well. Obviously, the 3D printing technology that they use on the face looks weird close up because it's like stipple painting on an action figure face, but from far away it actually looks really, really good, and I think it serves its purpose, and it adds to the likeness of the character, of who they're supposed to be based on. Other than that, I don't have any other real complaints. Like I said, I like the look of this. I like the look of it in the movie. I think it looks good. I think it looks good in action figure form. And yeah, that's gonna be a wrap for the aesthetics. So let's just jump right on into the posability of this figure, where I do have some issues, and you'll soon see in a minute. But starting from the top, as we always do, is the head. It's on a ball joint. She looks down like so. She can't really look up because of the hair, and I think also because of the collar. It would have been nice if the neck had some movement, but not a whole lot. It would have been nice if they could have maybe incorporated that a bit more into the articulation. I like the fact that I don't want to call it a corset piece because it's not really a corset, but her midsection, I like the fact that the upper torso fits into the midsection and not over the midsection. I think this works better. I think it looks better in terms of covering up any gappage, because since it's rolling around in there, probably on a ball joint, it's rolling around in there, and it doesn't make any gaps that you can see, and you actually get a pretty decent amount of range of motion out of that. Like, look how far back her back goes, and she kind of goes back a little bit. She kind of goes forward a little bit, but I like the fact that it sits in there like that. It adds more to the seamless look of the figure. Same thing with the lower torso. It fits on top of the hips, so you do have some torso rotation, not a whole lot, and you also go back and forth as well. You go forward a lot more, and you combine that with the upper torso and how far that goes. You can get a little bit more forward range of motion. Her little belt just floats on there on the hips, so it doesn't get in the way of any of the posability. Her arms have a butterfly joint that doesn't really allow for a lot of motion. It's like just enough. There's no bicep swivel, where I feel like they could have cut one in there, but there isn't one, unfortunately. So all the rotation is in the arm, in the shoulder, and I mean, you can go all the way around if you need to. So there's that. You bring her arm out, and you kind of have to finagle a little bit to get her arm to go forward. Arm goes all the way up like so. So I mean, the range of motion on the arms and the shoulders isn't bad. Like I said, I'll always take a bicep swivel over having all the articulation in the shoulder any day of the week. But she has double. She has like the split. I call it a split double elbow joint, because it's not two joints, it's one joint, but it's split so that in the middle, so that you can get that double joint rotate, that double joint articulation or range of motion. And so her arm comes up that far, which is nice. Hands are on a ball joint, so on like a split ball joint, so you can get her hands to go forward and backwards, and they rotate around. They're in there pretty good, so they're pretty stiff, so it's kind of hard to rotate. It was hard for me to rotate her hand around, to rotate the ball joint around, in case I wanted to have her hands bending in a different direction, or have them bending like so, horizontally with the arm. But it does work, and like I said, I'd rather have overly tight joints than loose joints. Moving on to her legs, there is no thigh swivel. There isn't even an inner thigh swivel. If it's there, it's non-existent. I don't know if you can see inside there very well, but it's practically non-existent if it's there. I don't think the hips are those joints where they rotate down, but as you can see, she does get a pretty decent split. So since she's a fighter, you're going to be able to do all those nice, cool kicking poses with the really great extension. The back, her butt cheeks prevent her legs from going back any farther. So there's that. But they do go forward and up if you finagle it a bit. If you rotate the legs a bit, you can get them to go up a little bit more. The knees are on your standard double joint, and you get that much play there with that as well, which works for me. Her ankles are exactly the same ankles as the Age of Ultron figure, and I hate these ankle joints because you only get one direction, forward and back. They don't rotate. You don't get ankle rockage unless you rotate the joint itself, which is a pain in the ass to rotate it in order to have it. Instead of having it going forward and backward this way, and you want to have it going forward and backward the other way, you have to rotate the joint in the foot, and it's just a pain. I can't even do it right now. It's not working, but it's the same thing on the Age of Ultron Black Widow figure, and I was really hoping when this new figure dropped that they would fix that, because some of the articulation feels kind of samey with this figure. Like I said, they upgraded, they changed the torso and the way that articulates, and it works well. Works a lot better than the Age of Ultron version. But the ankles was where I was really hoping they would fix this by changing the joints they use. But they use the same exact joints, and that's annoying because I hate this. It's just, I mean, you can do it, but it's counterintuitive, as opposed to it just you being able to just move it where you need to move it without too much hassle. You have to do a lot more to get the same result, which is annoying. So yeah, there's that flaw in there. But for the most part, I feel like you're gonna be able to get all your poses that you would want. You know, barring some of the limitations in the hips with the bicep swivel and with her butt cheeks getting in the way, her booty butt cheeks getting in the way, and her ankles, the way those are made. I wish they would stop using these ankles because they suck. But that's pretty much it for the articulation. You know, pretty much it's good enough. It's not stellar. To me, it's not what Figuarts is mostly known for. But I want to jump on into the accessories, because she does come with quite a bit. She comes with 2 extra faces. Obviously, she has her neutral face, but then she also has her stern, serious face. There, she's ready to fight and throw down. She's got a little bit of a scowl, and you know that works. It works. It looks a lot better when you have her when you have it connected to the head. And then she has her giving you the sideways glance facial expression. Both pretty nicely sculpted, both nicely painted apps on it. It all looks pretty good. I have no complaints with the face. When you want to switch the face out, you got to pull off the hair piece. Just comes off like so, and you see her exposed face. It's kind of cool that they even sculpted the ears, even though they get covered up by the hair. Like, you can't really see her ears unless you look from the bottom up of her face, and then you can kind of see them pointing through. But I just thought that was just a nice touch, added detail. But yeah, you just pull them out, pull out the head, the face plate, slip in the new face plate, and slip in the hair, and you're done. It's really simple, no muss, no fuss. It feels like it's loose when you do it, but it actually stays in very, very well. It never I've never had an instance where it just fell out, even though it feels like it's just sitting on there. Obviously, she has hands because she throws hands in the movie, and she has her flex splayed hands for her superhero poses. She also has her relaxed posed hands, of course, very nicely sculpted. Nothing to write home about there. And she has her fighting stick staff holding hands, and they slip in at an angle. I may as well pull out one of these right now just to show you guys. Here's one of her fighting sticks. It's all one base color because they were all one base color in the movie, but they actually do come apart where the handle meets the rest of the staff, and you just slip it on in, and it's at an angle already, which is nice. And then you just connect it and you're good to go. It's that simple. And you know me, I like simplicity, so there is that. And that's it for her hands. One other thing I forgot to mention is that if you still want her to hold her guns from the Age of Ultron version, since most of this figure is based off of that figure, that Age of Ultron figure, the ball joints are exactly the same. So you can literally switch out her hands to the Age of Ultron hands, and now you can have her holding her guns. So if you still want to do gun poses or her fighting with her pistols, you can still do that, even though she didn't come with guns to fit in her holsters. but you know, the option is still there for you if you so choose. So yeah, I almost forgot to throw that in there because it was like the first thing I tried when I opened up this package, was to see if these hands were interchangeable or not. She comes with 2 of these fighting sticks, and then she comes with the fighting staff, which is the combined fighting sticks, and it functions the same way. The handles come apart, you slip the hands in, and then you just slip the 2 pieces together, like so, and you're good to go. And you know, I like the sculpt of this, I like the way it looks. Yeah, it's a cool little piece of equipment. Okay, she also comes with just the 2 handle pieces, and these fit inside her little storage pack. Let me move these out of the way so I don't lose them to the carpet if they fall off my desk. But yeah, they're just a little ball. Let me move that out of the way. They're just a little ball socket, and move her head out the way. And they just fit in here like so. Or their little ball joint, I shouldn't say that's a socket, but they fit in the ball socket. And now you have them in her back for when she's not using them. And they work real nice. They move around, so they're articulated, so you can have her with her hands reaching back for them if you want to. So you can do that. You can do that sort of thing with them if you need to, or for posing purposes. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much it. Like, I got nothing else really major to say about this figure. If you're looking to complete your collection, it's not a bad figure to get, barring its articulation, some of its articulation or lack thereof. I still would say this is pretty solid for a figure. I feel like it's a lot better in terms of the tweaks that they made to the torso compared to the Age of Ultron Black Widow, and I just feel like it's a tighter figure overall. Like I said, I don't like the ankles, and that's but that's not enough for me to say, oh, don't buy this figure. You know, if you're okay with that and you can deal with that, then definitely pick this up, or you could wait until one of the other companies releases a Infinity War version of Black Widow. But I think this is a solid entry. I think it's a good looking figure, and it's going to look great next to your other Marvel MCU action figure characters. So that's going to pretty much do it. Leave your comments in the comment section, of course, as usual, per every video. If you like what you see, hit that like button. If you want to be kept updated, hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications, because that's what YouTube wants people to do now. I don't know why, but whatever. It's YouTube, and nobody knows why they do what they do. But make sure you do that so you can stay up on stuff that I've uploaded. And that's gonna do it. So until the next action figure review, I'm out. I'm Agent O. Peace.